Hello, artists. Today we're going to talk about color theory. What is color theory? Color theory is different ways that artists, designers, and scientists use to talk about color. Color can be kind of confusing to talk about, especially with someone who's not looking at the same thing you are. But even if you are looking at the same thing, sometimes it helps to have a special color vocabulary. Do you already know any color theory? I bet you know more than you thought. For instance, do you know what the primary colors are? I bet you learned that in kindergarten. Red, blue, and yellow. The secondaries are purple, orange, and green, and together they make up the color wheel. Aside from the names of the colors, that's probably the first color theory you ever learned. When you learned about primaries and secondaries, you learned which colors to mix together to create other colors. Primary means first, and secondary means second. If you mix the first colors together, they make a second color. You might have also learned about the color spectrum. The color spectrum is the way scientists talk about colors. And these colors are laid out a little bit differently than the color wheel. You might also know the color spectrum as the rainbow. We often use the color wheel when we're talking about paints, pigments, or other artist materials. And we talk about the color spectrum when we're talking about light, electronics, or other scientific measurements. You might have also learned about warm colors and cool colors. Those are ways of grouping colors together that is part of color theory. A value scale is also part of color theory. So really, you know a lot more color theory than you realized. Today, we're going to learn about three new types: monochromatic, analogous, and complementary. Monochrome means one color. So monochromatic color schemes are made from different shades of the same color. You take one color or hue and you add black or white, and you can create a variety of values to create a monochrome color scale. So if you've already learned to create a value scale, that's what monochrome is. But can you make art with a monochrome value scale? Of course you can. You can make beautiful art. Limiting yourself to just one hue, black and white, can be a terrific experiment and really challenge you to create all sorts of subtle color differences. Analogous colors are neighbor colors. They're next to each other on the color wheel. I like to think of monochromatic as colors that live in the same house, and analogous as the colors that live right next door on either side of that monochromatic house. So let's take a look. If we start with the color red, all of these colors can be analogous to red. They're all neighbor colors to red. But to be analogous, you have to stick to close neighbors. You can't go too far down the street. And we're going to start with the red house. If you go down the street one way, you're going down towards the blue house. And if you go down the street the other way, you're going down to the yellow house. Your analogous colors are going to be the ones right next to you, maybe two houses down, but not much further than that. So the red, orange, and yellow-orange houses are all analogous. They're neighbors. Or the red, mauve, and violet houses are also analogous. They're neighbors. Or the red, the mauve on one side, and the yellow-orange on the other side, those can be analogous. These two on the edges, they are not going to be analogous because they are just too far away from each other. We'll talk about those two in a minute. But first, let's take a look at some art made with analogous colors. You can see here we've got blue, green. Of course, you can always use white and black with an analogous color scheme. Here's another one that's using yellow, orange, and red. We've snuck a little pink in there too. And just to call back to some other color theory, the flowers on the left are a cool color scheme, and the flowers on the right are a warm color scheme. Complementary colors are opposite on the color wheel. You can draw a line right across. So the opposite of red is green, the opposite of blue is orange, and the opposite of purple is yellow. Those are complementary colors. So the colors that were far apart in the analogous example are very close to complementary colors. Complementary colors make strong combinations. Some people do not like the way complementary colors go together because they're so strong, but I think that they can make really beautiful, striking artwork. Contrast can be a very powerful element in art. So powerful that many sports teams choose complementary colors for their uniforms because they're so powerful, bright, and easy to see. So now, are you ready for the quiz? The quiz will be a lot easier if you have a color wheel in front of you. For this quiz, you need to identify each picture as a primary, monochromatic, analogous, or complementary color scheme. I'm going to go pretty quickly so that my video is not too long. But if you want to think about and talk about your choices, you can pause the video between each slide. I'll put a star on the right answer after you've had a minute to think about it. Okay, here we go. So now you know a lot more color theory than you did when you started, but still, this isn't all of it. People all around the world and through time have thought about colors and talked about colors and made colors in very different ways. Colors go in and out of style. You may think of color as a constant, but in fact, color, our understanding of color, and our uses of color is very complex, and it affects the way we think, how we feel, our emotions, our energy, and artists use different colors in different ways to express different ideas and feelings. Now, next time you make some art, I want you to think about color in a new way.